the lounge today. City lights flashing, can't stop the glow. Feet on the pavement.
Yeah. What's up, jobbers? It is your boy BQ. I want to apologize for last week's episode. I sound check always when I do a podcast. I've made mistakes in the past. I've had many instances over the last several years where I've accidentally recorded on my laptop mic, or sometimes I record in complete silence. And last week's episode, which I thought I did a pretty good podcast, and work with me. I'm a little sick this morning, so hopefully my voice is not too annoying. Uh, I've done silent podcasts before. I've messed up in the past, and I thought I did a pretty good podcast last week. I was very disappointed upon playback to realize that my laptop microphone recorded the pod. And for those of you who like really love what I do, which is probably like 15 of you, you probably don't care. You know what I mean? Like you can just you just take it in, whatever you want to hear what I have to say. You want to hear the review. For those of you who like some kind of quality, you like good sound quality. You don't, I'm always talking about TNA's quality, right? Whether it's sound quality, visual, whatever. So you probably didn't really listen to a lot of what I had to say last week, because once you tuned in, you could hear the sound bites were much louder than me speaking, and I want to apologize for that. I always make sure that my microphone is picking up, and this was like really one of the few times I didn't, and I didn't want to redo the pod because I had already dropped it kind of late. So I'm dropping this one on you guys a little earlier than normal because I do got to get around a final resolution. I'm recording this on Sunday morning, and when I tell you I have not seen a single result from final resolution, I haven't seen one single result. I don't know who won a single match. It might be because the card was so bad that no one cares to talk about it, but and I say that in jest, there are some good things on the card. I probably have the least interest in this final resolution card that I have had in a TNA Plus show in forever. Maybe like the crossover stuff they were doing with like Japan. It's on that level. Like I do not want to watch this. I honest to God don't care, but I will watch it. And I tell you guys, I'm the worst podcaster ever. No one is less committed to watching wrestling than me. But this is the lounge, and we're going to get into this episode of TNA Impact. But we're going to talk AMC real quick because I know people want to hear my thoughts on it. I'm probably not going to blow you away with my thoughts, but we will get into this one time. Now, if you want to hear the long, in-depth analysis about this, go to Mike Gilbert.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Go to the Mike and JD YouTube channel. Go to his Patreon. My guy has been obsessing over this for the last like year or two. He's going to give you that in-depth analysis. He's talking about numbers and how many homes it's in and all this shit. Like, you're just not going to get that from me because I don't care to that extent. I'm not knocking what he does. He's very good at that. He gets deep into this stuff. He gets very deep into the weeds and seeds where I just don't. I look at a much bigger picture, and of course I want them. Of course I'm excited for them. I'm excited for the company, for them to be on a better network, and hopefully it means really good things for them. The way that I looked at this was this has to be a decent network because they can only do this once. They have jumped channels so many times throughout the years, and they're usually taking a step down. They've taken a step down just about every time, except when they went like from Pursuit to Access TV. That is the only time they have ever taken a step up. It has been down ever since. So I think my biggest concern when I knew that they were looking for a new network was that it was going to be a lateral move. Because then at that point, we're looking at again, like, okay, let's get to a bigger network. You know what I mean? It was very important that they found a pretty decent network and they made it happen. I do want to address something. it kind of popped in my head listening to Mike's review. So there was the rumor going around that they were going to go on Wednesdays to compete against NXT. And I don't remember if I ever talked about this or not. I want to say that I did, but I'm going to bring it up again because I did ask this question months and months ago. Like, is this a thing? Because the dirt sheets and all these dudes came out with it. I was told that that was never a thing, that they were going to try to compete against AEW on Wednesdays. Like they had no idea what night of the week they were going to be on. What I was told was we will be we will broadcast our show the night of the week that the network tells us to. So there was no we're trying to get to this channel so we can compete against this company. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think that's smart business for them. I don't I think they know better than that than to go head to head with AEW because even if you're on a bigger network, you're probably going to still be pulling the same numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think that is a smart plan, and I don't ever think I don't know where it came from, where it stemmed from, but I don't think that was ever a thing. I think it was perhaps a game of telephone where this guy said this guy said this one made an assumption about this, and someone went to the dirt sheets as fact, because that happens a lot. But yeah, I just want you guys know that what I was told was that was never a point of discussion. That wasn't a thing that they were going to broadcast on the day of the week that the new network told them to. So obviously they're going to remain on Thursdays. Now, what does this mean for them? Do I think their viewership will increase? I do. I think the first episode, if they even report the numbers, I think it's going to be in the 225 range, and I think they're going to average in about the 200,000 range. I see people on Twitter. I've really stayed off Twitter over the last week or so. I've never been real strong on Twitter, to be honest, but when I do get on there, I see people saying they're going to do 4 to 500,000. They are not. I don't know. It's great to be optimistic. I would really look at like the collision numbers and say I would say collision on a bad day numbers, because on a good day they can get up there, but collision on a bad day I think is going to be close to TNA on a good day, and that's not a it's not a knock on this company. I mean, I always get people coming at me like I want the company to fail. Like I've been doing this for 10 years because I want TNA to fail. It is my favorite company. It's the only company that hasn't lost me. You know, I'm just, man, I try to be that voice of reason for you guys. I try to be realistic. To say that 400,000 people are going to come out the woodwork and watch the show just because it's on a bigger network. I can, if I'm wrong, like fucking slap me and call me Sally. Like I'll be the first one to be like, yo, I was wrong. I don't think I'm wrong though. That's like, Tony Khan. They go to Max and they say, "Oh, we got 500,000 viewers on the show." Like, I don't think that's realistic. I think they will double what they do. I think on good weeks they will do another 25,000 or so than the average. But I think the norm is going to be in the 200,000 range. Um, doesn't mean a lot more people won't have it on DVR, but I'm talking about like live viewership. And it is going to be accessible to more people on DVR. So I do think there will be more eyeballs. Rumors that it's like a $30 million deal. So everyone's like, okay, now TNA has all this money to spend, right? Keep in mind TNA's in debt, and it does not really work like that. Like the WNBA got a $5 billion TV deal that's starting next season, but they've been operating for 20 plus years at a negative. Like they're in debt. You understand what I'm saying? Like they're not all of a sudden be like, oh, now we can make all the players rich. So is there going to be some benefit from it? Yes. Financially, I do think there will be some benefit when wrestlers are renegotiating their deals. You know, um, I don't think they're going to be quite competing with AEW yet. I would say the top of the card probably can compete a little bit. I would like to see more, for me as a fan, I would like to see more guaranteed money for the wrestlers. What I mean by that is that where you're not booking them per appearance every single time. Like the beauty around the Pop TV era, and this wasn't necessarily from a business standpoint a good thing because they weren't making any money, but a lot of them were on salary deals or they had guaranteed money. You know what I'm saying? So when we were watching the show, they weren't cramming 20 wrestlers onto the show. Like sometimes we'd get 4 matches and we just have the 8 wrestlers in the match and then 1 or 2 backstage segments and then you had 12, 14 people on the show. Like now we're seeing 20, 25 people on the episodes. And I've been pointing out on some of the TNA Plus shows. I don't remember in particular. It was like 2 shows ago where I said they got the entire roster on this fucking show. They did for Bound for Glory, which I get it for the big pay-per-views, but it was like the TNA Plus show before that. Everybody, they shoehorned the entire roster pretty much onto the show, except for the girls they don't use, like Killer Kelly and all that. But they just shoehorned everyone, and it was like overkill. So when I first started covering this company in the Pop TV era, they didn't do that. And how many episodes did they have where I always told you, man, they just shoehorn Joe Hendry in here. They just shoehorn Mike Santana in here because they feel like they have to. Now, if you're taping television and you're doing 2 episodes, if Joe Hendry, who obviously isn't around anymore, but if he comes out once, if Mike Santana comes out once, I think the crowd, the Hardys, if they come out once, I think the crowd is going to be okay. Now we're watching on TV. We might be missing these guys one episode, but that's okay. Like I want to see them let things breathe a little bit. I don't want to see every single wrestler every single episode because they're trying to find a way to pay them their per appearance. Like I want to see more guaranteed money where it may not say, you're on a salary for the entire year, but it might say, hey, you're going to get this amount no matter what, the downside guarantee, you could call it. So that's something from like a television standpoint that I want to see. From a production standpoint, and no one's been more critical about the production than I have. Nobody. Okay. But what I'm seeing on TV right now, I don't hate. Look at the backstage segments with Gia Miller. There's not shadows all over the place. We don't really see the filter or bad lighting or whatever. Like it looks pretty good right now. I would say the crowd wise and energy wise, it is dwindled significantly since Bound for Glory, since the pre-Bound for Glory tapings. It makes me wonder if Joe Hendry had had any kind of control over that, like his presence on the show. I don't know, but obviously the shows are a lot less energy right now. They've got to get back to those crowds that they had prior to Bound for Glory. But I think the show looks pretty good. Creatively, we've been complaining about it for years. We've been complaining about it all year this year. Every time I do a mailbag, people are talking about the creative. That does have to improve next year. Mike said a thing.
Oh, hi, Mark.
And I'm going to say it as well. I'm going to hold him to a higher standard in 2026. A much higher standard. Frankly, they have to keep me as a viewer because I say this every year, but it's truer and truer every year. The chances of me being done with this podcast, it's getting there. It could be at the end of 2026. All right. They have to keep me as a viewer. But I'm going to hold them to a much higher standard. I've always told them dress for the job you want, not the job you have. That was my issues with the production quality on Access TV, the production snafus on TNA Plus, which I don't think we've had that in quite some time, actually. But remember, it was every single month. And people say, no, BQ wasn't every month. It was every month. There was something every single show they put on that happened. Could be minor, could be major, whatever. But there was some kind of issue every single time. So I do want to see a less is more approach to the show. I want to see a more focused on the wrestlers that are involved in the episode and not just trying to shoehorn wrestlers in. I'm going back to the Joe Hendry, but shoehorning him in just to play his music, shoehorning him into feuds that he had nothing to do with, partnerships that he had nothing to do with. And they've done that with Mike Santana a little bit too. Not recently, but probably the first year he was in the company. Like they were just inserting him places that he had nothing to do with. And they even did it recently with Sami Callihan when he had that match with him. So I want to see less of that. I want to see more continuity, but I don't think we're going to see it. I don't think we're going to see the continuity, and we're going to see the creative improvements until they take a less is more approach to the show. So financially, I'm hoping that they can take care of the wrestlers in a way that they don't feel like they have to book them on every single episode. You know what I mean? So that is my biggest thing. But I don't. I really. I hope people are can go into it saying, "Yo, if there's 300,000 people like watching the show on AMC, you just go into it surprised and happy." And um, you know, I don't want you to go into it expecting 500,000, and then when it's 200,000, you're just like, "Oh shit," you know? Yes, the better network is going to help. That is going to help all the way around, but do not be unrealistic in your expectations. So again, if you want the weeds and seeds, and it's in this many homes, and this is the shows that are on the network, and um, all that shit. If that is what you were looking for, Mike Gilbert is your guy.
Oh, hi, Mark.
All right, but I am not your guy for that kind of stuff. So let's get into this episode of TNA Impact.
TNA Impact. Oh.
And we are going through this one quick because I didn't watch a lot of this. And why do you ask? I did not watch a lot of it because I did not care about most of what happened on this show. And that's just how it is. Man, I haven't talked to you guys in a couple weeks, huh? Did we do a show? We did a show last week. It was okay. No, we did the show last week. That's the one I apologize for. I was thinking Thanksgiving was last week or something. So, but we are in the home stretch, and this is the first episode of the new year. We are accustomed to 1 or 2 episodes and then some best of bullshit, which does not appear what they're going to do this year. Again, keep in mind when I'm talking about certain things on the show, I have not seen Final Resolution. I don't know one thing that happened. I don't know if anyone showed up. I don't know who won. I don't know who lost. I don't know any of that stuff. Okay? Not a fucking clue. I don't know if this Bear Bronson dude showed up. I got no idea. And I saw him in AEW a little bit when I watched this show, and I was like, this guy can, I'm interested to see what he can do as a singles guy in a smaller pond like TNA. And then I heard he was a garbage wrestler. And I'm like, in my mind, I was like, he's going to attack Matt Cardona at Final Resolution, isn't he? And they're going to have a garbage match or something, So we'll see, man. But it's another garbage death match wrestler. Don't care anymore. But yeah, man. Let us get into this episode. Your ring announcer for the evening is Mackenzie Mitchell.
Ding bong, ding dong, he's Stone Cold Aye.
And they started this whole thing off with I fast forwarded through most of it, to be honest, but a nice little video package. I think they were at that Lake of Reincarnation or whatever, that they are going to AMC. And they promoted this shit out of this. By I mean Tom Hannafin told us every 15 minutes throughout the episode that they were going to AMC. And after that nice, like, yo, TNA, we're doing this and this, we're growing, we're getting big, we're making these major moves. Let's give them a banger of a match to kick off, or I shouldn't say kick off, but to end the year and get ready for the new era. Let's give them a banger. Let's give them Hometown Man.
Everyone in this room is now dumber.
So he went. First of all, he came out with an Orlando Magic Shaq jersey, and he held it up to the crowd like, "Hey, everyone, I'm from Orlando. Like, the people from Orlando don't like Shaq. Like, he fucked the Orlando Magic back in the late 90s. You know what I'm saying? Like, that means he went to TJ Maxx and he picked up an Orlando Magic jersey off the clearance rack. It's like, oh, here's a Shaq jersey. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want an icon in Orlando, like, put on a Penny Hardaway jersey, or put on like a current Paulo Banchero, have something like that, dude. Shaq, like, he either had this jersey from when he was like a kid, or he went to the clearance rack somewhere because no Orlando basketball fan is cheering for Shaq. I can tell you that right now. So yeah, ooh, excuse me. The hometown man takes on Brooks Jensen.
Who?
Brooks Jensen.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
So I fast forwarded through this entire match until, due to a distraction, he hits the hometown man, who used to be undefeated, with a spinning heel kick and gets the victory. This Brooks Jensen dude, talk about a motherfucker that if he walked past you in the mall, you would not recognize him from television. Man, I mean, that is my issue with pro wrestling today, man. Just these like interchangeable ass dudes. Like, who is this guy? Like, seriously, man. Does not even a little bit look like a wrestler, but we get him on our television. After this, we had a Treehouse Rascal segment.
In one word, would I use dope? Nope.
And I'm going to double down on something Mike said on his review too. This was too long. They've always been too long for me. While most of you guys find these funny, I'm not saying I don't find them unfunny. I don't really care for them though. You can get about 30 seconds of my time on these, and this just did not end. And you know what Mike was saying, when it comes to humor, you can't, I don't remember his exact wording, but just because you do something funny, it doesn't mean you just keep going and going and going. You have to know where your exit is. You have to know when to step out. You cannot keep the joke going because then the joke becomes unfunny. Obviously, I've always used a lot of really dry humor on my show, and it's been very quick. I'm usually in and out because either someone's going to find something funny or they're not, but we're moving on to the next. You understand what I'm saying? And you just can't keep dragging it on and dragging on because you lose the humor. And that is what's happening in these Treehouse segments. Like, they do start out kind of funny and then they just continue and they don't end. And now we just want to move on to the next thing, but they're still talking and trying to be funny, you know? And I'm not saying these aren't funny dudes. They are good at what they do. They're just entirely too long. Then in the ring next, we get the Inspiration.
I am iconic.
They do the most cringe white girl dances in the world. And they pull it off because they're hot, especially Cassie Lee, but I mean, very, very cringe, but somehow they make it work. I don't know what it is. So they come out, and I think they're a decent. I'm sorry, I hit that by accident. I think they're a decent promo. I like their backstage stuff a lot more. I feel like talking in the ring with a microphone should be reserved for the Mike Santanas of the world. You know, people who can really, really cut a promo. Like, when you have someone who's a good backstage promo, it doesn't necessarily translate to in the ring. So I thought it was fine. It was a little long. Again, it just seemed like there was a lot of things on this episode that I feel like they were trying to kill time with. But even though they announced this match on social media already, the Inspiration essentially put out an open challenge. Like, who wants some? Who happened to be standing by immediately when the challenge was put out? I mean, immediately the music hits, we get Tessa Blanchard.
Oh, I don't like this. That if the Nuggets don't win this,
and her black friend Victoria Crawford.
My favorite match was with Melina and Alicia Fox.
And, you know, as I said, this was already announced. So Hannafin at that point in his, I would imagine, was a voiceover. I don't know. I don't think it was live and in the moment. He had to point out that the match was already announced on social media. So I guess not a huge deal, but a lot of people did pick up on it, that the timelines were kind of crossed. But I will say Hannafin is pretty good with his attention to detail. As annoying as his voice is, his attention to detail is pretty good. Sometimes it's like Tony Khan-esque, where he's like really bringing up stuff that, I mean, who the fuck cares? Like, it's so long ago. It's like, oh, in 2017, in a first time ever matchup, he won by count out. Like, sometimes it's a little too much, you know what I'm saying? But he does have attention to detail. So he did his best to try to polish this turd. So Tessa comes out, and man, these knockouts tag team titles, man, it's like they're just running through all the opponents as quick as possible. I just wish they would drag things out a little bit, man. But they let us know, the inspiration let us know that they beat two teams because they love their multi-person matches. It was pretty obvious when Tessa bowed out of that match that she eventually was going to come back to wrestle the inspiration. So that is what we get a final resolution. Again, I don't know who won. If I had to take a guess in the moment, the ultimate winners will be Tessa Blanchard and Mila Moore. So I think that's how they're kind of like cycling through it. Mila Moore and Victoria Crawford, Tessa and Victoria Crawford, and then I think at Genesis it'll be Tessa and Mila Moore. That just, without knowing what happened at Final Resolution, that is where I think they were going with it. Speaking of Mila Moore, she attacks the inspiration from behind. We now have a 3-on-2 beatdown. Guess what the fuck happened? Guess. Well, you already know if you've watched the show. If you haven't, guess. Baby faces up. The inspiration gets the upper hand on the three heels. And now there is no heat. And why are we having a fucking match? They just cannot help themselves. They just feel like they got to pop the crowd. They cannot help themselves. They can't just go into a pay-per-view and say, yo, the baby faces are on their asses going into the pay-per-view. They cannot do it. They cannot help themselves. After this, we got Santino.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
And he is firing up Team TNA for later in the evening. Knockouts action. We have number one contenders match. This is the leader of the Mewtwo movement.
God damn, bit like Mewtwo.
And she is taking on Queen of the Rubber match, Zaya Brookside. I look forward to the number one contender rubber match that will come out of this. So I was looking forward to this match because like Danny Luna is becoming one of the better parts of the show in ring. The company's not ready to get behind her, obviously. There was a couple instances where the carrot was there for her to, and they're just dangling it in front of her, and they're dangling it in front of us too. Because this is someone people are ready, I don't want to say ready to get behind. We're not trying to turn her baby face, but we want to see what she can do with more opportunity on the show. I think people want to see what she can do as the eventual knockout champion. But she has she's come a long way. You guys know me and Spitfire, man, for a while. Like I was calling them jobbers. I could not stand this group. All right. When they were a tag team, I could not stand them. I'm interested in both of them now, as far as what they can do as singles. So the match was a little long, just like a couple other things on the show. The crowd was pretty much dead for it. I don't think it was as good as people expected. It was not a bad match. It was just kind of there. And if the stakes were that it was a number one contenders match, I feel like the foot should have been, their feet should have been on the gas just a little bit more. Ultimately, what happens here? She goes under the ring for a chain. I think she got a chair first and then grabbed the chain. And then guess who? So they can pay her. Comes running down 15 seconds later.
How long did it take you to learn English once you got here?
It was really easy because we speak English in Australia, you fucking idiot.
It is Indy Hartwell. The feud that will never end is Indy Hartwell versus Danny Luna. Now, I'm not going to totally bury that because I have been asking for feuds outside of the title. Okay? I have been asking for this. The problem is they've already had a no DQ match, which Indy Hartwell won. Okay? I don't know if they're trying to treat it like they need a rubber match because Danny Luna pinned her in the gauntlet. No, it wasn't a gauntlet, but it was the four-way match. But they're keeping this thing going. Okay? Again, for some, I'm always talking about long-term storytelling, feuds outside of the title. I get it. Okay? But here's the problem. No one cares. And why don't they care? Is because they manufactured the heat between these two. They were a tag team for like 1 or 2 matches and they broke them up. And we're supposed to buy into this heat that they hate each other. Okay. That is like my issue. The people wanted to see this between Danny Luna and Jody Threat. That's what they wanted to see. Something that was also had an ability to get both of them to the next level, regardless of who lost, which likely would be Jody Threat in this scenario. But regardless, could have got both of them to the next level. Okay. It's like Indy Hartwell is in Jody Threat's feud. So we're supposed to buy this heat that doesn't really exist between the two of them. And they could have made this work had when Indy Hartwell said, you know, I'm sorry, I don't want to be a tag team because I want to chase the title. If they would approach this creatively like Danny Luna, obviously those were the seeds planted for the heel turn for Danny Luna. But if creatively they would have changed this to Danny Luna saying, I'm going to do everything in my power so you never win that title. Now we have a little more juice in this feud. Okay. Now we have a little bit more story to build off of. But it just seems like every time these are in the ring together, I almost forget they're in a feud. I'm like, why are they fighting? Because the story was not laid out in a way that I think people care that much. All right. But I will say it is a feud off to the side, not involving the title. It de facto kind of sort of whatever does involve the title, but it doesn't at the same time. But when this chain came out, I said, we are getting a chain match, aren't we? Between Danny Luna and Indy Hartwell at Genesis. That's not okay. I had to look at my notes. Not a chain match, a dog collar match. That's where I was going with it. So it seems like we're either getting the Russian chain match or we're getting the dog collar match, but we're getting one of the two. Okay. That clearly is that's where they're going with it. Whenever they plant these kind of seeds, that is what comes to fruition. It happens every single time. So she hits Danny Luna, who goes back in the ring. Xia Brookside with delivers the worst small package in the history of the business, but she does do it and beats Danny Luna, and she is the #1 contender. So after this, in the back,
From Chingchong, China.
we get Lang Lee. She cuts a promo in English. And when they put the Angel Warriors together, and then it was clear that Lang Lee was going to win the title. And I will say the way they've booked Lang Lee lately, they've given her some momentum in defeat. Like she's been one of those people who's looked very good in defeat. So I don't think her win came out of nowhere by any means. But when they put the two of them together, my assumption, even when Lang Lee won the title, was that Xia Brookside was going to be her mouthpiece, and that was the way they were kind of why they put the team together, so that Lang Lee could have a title run, and Xia Brookside could. She seems to be able to translate for her. She is now fluent in Chinese, but that's kind of where I thought they were going. Lang Lee cuts this promo, and she drops the 2 words, the one term that always lets you know where everything is going. She called Xia Brookside, who, by the way, I need to fix this background. All these wrestlers, that doesn't even look like Xia Brookside anymore. Moose is not the X Division champion. I need a new background. But she said the 2 words, the one term that always lets you know where everything is going. She called Xia Brookside her best friend. That means Xia Brookside, whether she did it at Final Resolution, probably not. She is turning on Lang Lee. Lang Lee's, I will shake hands after. Xia Brookside's turning on her. That is what happens when as soon as you call someone your best friend in wrestling, you are letting us know that they are going to turn heel. So they are going the paint by numbers route here, the jealous route. I was hoping they were just going to, as I said, just say, hey, these two are a tag team. But she's kind of the mouthpiece for it. That's where I thought it was going. Xia Brookside's going to turn on her. And then they will have a rubber match. Then we get the fake, phony Bioflex injury report.
You have 24 hours to live.
24 hours?
Well, 22. I'm sorry I kept you waiting so long.
We're talking about Mike Santana, Tessa Blanchard, Indy Hartwell. The Rascals are not cleared. Or are they? Stay tuned. Then we got a quick backstage promo from King of the Block Party.
It's a block party. I'm not playing with y'all, bro.
TNA Jobber World Champion Frankie Kazarian. And he's got a little, he's cutting. Man, a promo battle between him and JDC actually would have been very good if this wasn't a throwaway title match. Which I'm okay with some throwaway title matches at a Impact Plus show, TNA Plus, excuse me, because I've always talked about them going way too hard on these shows. And hey, can we back up a little bit, let things breathe or whatever? I always say don't defend every single title, but if you're going to do it at the end of the year show that people don't really care about based on the overall card, I'm fine with him wrestling JDC. But he's saying he's a career jobber and all that good stuff. Opening match. I think he called him a opening match jobber or something like that. What do we have after this? Oh, the First Class Penthouse. We have, of course, had AJ Francis. Rewind. Big boom AJ Francis.
Boom!
And his rich homie Swan.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
Okay. Why are they breaking these guys up already? They just put them together again. And I get it. Rich Swan's in great shape, and he had a great X Division match. I don't think they need to be broken up. I think people are hoping they were going to win the titles one day. For me, it does not make a whole hell of a lot of sense. The only thing I have in the back of my head of why it does make some sense is because they did this last year. Didn't AJ Francis have a world title match at Final Resolution last year? Right when his contract was ending. So they tend to, when someone's contract is at the end, they're like, let's give you a title match. Let's, they're doing it with JDC, right? They tend to do this. And I think AJ Francis' contract is up at the end of the year if it's not up already. So they're doing the same thing. Let's give him big profile match, X Division Championship. They don't know if he's going to be back. Maybe they don't know if they can keep First Class together. Maybe this is a ruse and Rich Swann actually helps AJ Francis win the title. We'll see what happens at Final Resolution. You already know what happened at Final Resolution. I have no idea. But I'm not totally turning my back on this because it might make some sense. We just don't know it yet, but I don't think anyone wants to see the two of them break up because we like this group. We like this act, but they did AJ Francis let us know he has an album out. So I'm actually looking forward to that. I like his music. So I'm going to check it out. Trick Williams is on one of the songs. And I want to say there's another wrestler. I know Bun B is on there from UGK, which is a very high profile feature. I wanted to say one other wrestler was on there, but I might just be thinking of Bun B being on there. But I'm looking forward to checking it out. And what happened? I forgot to talk about this on last week's show. But there was this First Class segment where AJ Francis was standing outside of an ATM with Rich Swann. That's where they were outdoors in front of an ATM talking to each other. And then like 30 seconds later, Leon Slater with his X Division Championship walks up. Like these segments, the convenience of where they do stuff and who just happens to walk up and there happens to be a camera is so annoying to me on this fake phony wrestling
You're
show.
a fake and a phony, and I wish I'd never laid eyes on you.
Anyway, they do this First Class Penthouse. It is with Leon Slater.
Hey, here. I'm in charge.
Do you feel in charge?
And they Leon Slater is one of the better talkers in the company. AJ Francis is one of the better talkers in the company. They are basically laying it out that, they try to obviously there's an attack here. There always is. AJ Francis is trying to choke slam this man, trying to put him through a table, trying to get Rich Swann to hit him with the X Division Championship. He wouldn't do it. I don't even remember what ultimately happened here. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't remember if he ended up choke slamming him. I don't remember what happened. I want to say Leon Slater got out of it and got out of the ring. I don't remember exactly. And then after that, we had System cut a promo. They're going to have a new member. I don't think they need a new member. I think they should disband, to be honest. I think that has run its course. But we're probably going to get a new member with the System. Keep your expectations as low as dog balls. JDC cuts a promo backstage. It's excellent. He is top 2 or 3 talkers in his company, probably. It's unfortunate that he is kind of a mid-carder, and that a lot of the times they cut the promos, he just said the "What's up, town" or whatever, kind of a one-liner guy. But you remember he was doing the heel stuff backstage. He had Bravo. He had Oleg Prudius. You know what I'm saying? Like, that stuff was all pretty good. And I thought it would have got to the next level if he would have won the Digital Media Championship for Joe Hendry, who was really dry as a champion at the time. And he did not win it. And then he just kind of started going down, down, down. But I thought there was some potential in him as an upper mid-carder. They just couldn't get there with him. But he's one of the best talkers. He's natural. His promos are unlike anything else that the company does. And they just never were able to capitalize on it. You know? He's in a featured position on the show, but they just, if he would have remained a solo act and done the promos backstage that he was doing, I think they could have done something with him. And then really the only thing on the show that was really worth a damn was the next match here. We had Mustafa Ali. I said Mustafa Ali.
If you vote for me, all of your wildest dreams will come true.
And he took on Trey Miguel. Earlier in the fake Bioflex injury report, the Rascals were not cleared for competition. But here's Trey Miguel wrestling later in the show. So Trey Miguel has this match with Ali. It is excellent. All right. Both of these guys. Ali is obviously excellent. Trey Miguel can fall into the Zachary Wentz category where everything is choreographed, but when he's in there with the right guy, he doesn't do that. He sells, and it is this was a great pairing. These are for 2 X Division style guys and flippy dippy. Like, I love this. This was good. I don't think anyone disliked this match. It was excellent. And believe it or fucking not, Ali gets a clean heel victory at the end. Momentum for the heel. This only matters if the Order 4 wins at Final Resolution. Because if you John Schuyler won the week prior. So that tells me the Rascals are probably going to win at Final Resolution. But the win that Ali got meant nothing if they do not capitalize on it. Because as I said, I do think they're ultimately going to take the titles off the Hardys, Agent Zero and Ali. So I'm actually really interested to see how this Rascals thing plays out. I thought the Rascals was a really short-term thing, the 4 of them, but they got promotional graphics. Desmond Xavier is an official member on the website. So maybe Trey Miguel, because I follow him on Facebook. I think we're actually Facebook friends. All right, I just follow his page. I'm not sure. He had said the last several years I've been busting my ass with almost no one watching. And now we're moving to AMC. So it seems like he's part of this new movement. I really thought the Rascals were about done. But we'll see. So I'm really curious to see how this match plays out with Order 4 and the Rascals. But, I mean, I love the finish for this. Trey Miguel goes for the Meteora. He misses. Ali puts him in a sharpshooter and gets him to tap immediately. We don't ever see fucking finishes like that. We don't get submission finishes ever. They don't make sense when we do get them. No one works body parts anymore. This was like perfect. I hope this is on their little bullshit list that they put together every year. I hope this is on there for match of the year. I don't know if it will be, and it definitely won't win. But from my recollection of everything we've seen this year, like, this was kind of it for me. Again, I watch matches through a much different lens than a lot of you guys do, man. But for me, this was really, really good. It was really the only thing on the show worth watching. Like, if you did not see the show, like, just watch this match and you'll be good to go. And then after that, we have the main event. Oh, and I can't count. It is an 8-man tag team match.
I'm here for the gangbang.
We had Steve Macklin, the international champion.
ass kicking around here. Wait your turn, jarhead.
We had Matt Hardy.
Wonderful.
We had Jeff Hardy.
Jeff.
We had Cedric Alexander.
My name is Optimus Prime.
And they're wrestling from NXT. It's, Tank, Tyrese, Lexi Hull, and Stanks. I fast forwarded through this entire thing until the very end where they pin Macklin. So I just had no real interest in the match. This guy stanks another dude, just like this Brooks Jensen in the opening match. If I were on the streets of Las Vegas and he walked past me, I'd have no clue who he was. That is a face I will never commit to memory. So I just had such little interest in this. I have very little interest in the NXT matches because I just do. I don't like NXT. I'm happy for TNA and the partnership and everything that got them to AMC. But as far as like creatively what we see on screen with the NXT people, I just don't care. When they do it with the women, it works because there's a little more flavor with the women. They don't look interchangeable. They do have some talented women on NXT. Like the men on NXT is like, okay, whatever. Tank and Tyrese have great looks. Lexi Hull, like when he was in AEW, was, dry as they come. And then this other guy, I don't know, dude. I just didn't really care, and that is it. So that'll do it. I do need to get to Final Resolution. I will start watching it today, and hopefully review it very, very soon. I am your boy BQ, and I'm out. Peace. I said peace.